Finally, the show's actually taking off. So this episode is brought to you by Great Lakes Disc. Whether you're looking for some slick new gear or your new favorite disc, head over to Great Lakes Disc and they'll get you covered. It's pretty simple as head over to the Disc Seeker podcast Instagram page, hit the link tree button, and then you'll see the Great Lakes Disc link. You just hit that and start your shopping. So, as always, I'm your host, Josh, and we recognize this guy. We've seen him on Imposter and other foundation like shows and podcasts. So, without further ado, I'll let my guest fully introduce himself, where he's from, and how did his disc golf journey begin.
Whew. That first of all, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I've been loving the grind of seeing you have everybody on here and kind of dive into different people's backgrounds and showcase the unique personalities that we have in disc golf. But yeah, obviously, for those who don't know, my name is Gary. I disc golf for me is an interesting one. I got into disc golf before COVID, so I'm not a COVID person who jumped in. I like a lot of people, I was playing ultimate frisbee with a group. We would get together once a week, and after one of our matches, one of my friends was like, "Hey man, we're gonna go play some frisbee golf." And I'm like, "What's frisbee golf?" So we went out to a college where they picked out rocks, benches, light poles, things you probably shouldn't have been able to throw a disc at. And I'm playing with an Ultra Star, and they're playing with these tiny little disc thingies. And I'm like, why are you throwing so much further than I am? And so I went out like that day and got myself my first ever Innova starter pack, showed it to a buddy of mine, and he and I played probably 3 or 4 times a week on a course that we made for ourselves because we didn't know other courses existed. We didn't know it was a professional sport. We just got together 3 or 4 times a week, and we had a full 18-hole course picked out with out of bounds and all the objects. And I even went so far as to type it all out into Word. And so that's kind of where I started playing disc golf. And then one day he shows up with this Innova iDie like 11 speed. And he's like, "Oh, I got this brand new disc." And he starts out throwing me a little bit because up to that point, I only have a really super beat in like rock. I don't have it like a driver. And I'm like, I can't let this guy beat me. He's like, he's my best friend. I can't let him win. So I went home that night and I typed in something along the lines of like disc golf starter pack, like throw better or something. And I discovered the Central Coast Disc Golf Innova Starter Pack Challenge with Paul Macbeth, Nate Sexton, Eagle McMahon, and Eric Oakley. And I discovered right then and there that it was a professional sport, and that's it. It took off for me. And then I went and found my first league, played in my first events, and then COVID hit. I saw everybody else get into disc golf, and that's kind of where I started playing disc golf. And it was kind of crazy to sit back and think that it just all it took was my buddy bringing a new disc there. If he never would have brought that, or would have just stopped playing, who knows if I would even be doing any of this stuff.
That's pretty cool. So, do you
Yeah.
remember like your very first tournament or league? Like, what did it feel like when you're showing up for your first time?
Yeah. So I was thinking about getting into tournaments. Someone's like, you should play a league first. And I'm like, what's a league? Where can I find one of these things? Because at that point, I was only really playing on one course in the area because our area didn't have a lot of great courses. It only had one kind of middle school course, which was fun. And I only played with a group of like 5 or 6 people. And, I was the one who took it the most seriously. So I was very typically beating the rest of the group. And so I found out that there was a league about 45 minutes away in this little pocket of courses. And I went out there expecting to play really well. I was the big fish in my group of friends. And that very first round of leagues, they put me on a card with an actual like sponsored professional player, Skip Hummel, who at the time was sponsored by DGA. And then one of their like top MA1 guys, Tom, and we played that course, and Tom beat me by like 11 and Skip beat me by like 19. And I discovered very quickly that even though I was a big fish back locally, it was a very tiny, it was a puddle compared to being a very tiny fish in this much larger pond. And so I played leagues there a few times, and then I decided to sign up for my first tournament. And I went I went out to the Creekside Crawdads Club, played over there at Ridley Park, and I shot my first ever sub 800 rated round. And for some reason, I said to myself, I like to do this. And so the second round, I shot like an 812 or something, and it was great. I established my first ever rival at that event. We saw each other for the next like 8 tournaments. But after like 3 or 4 tournaments, I was hooked. And I was like, I'm not playing in this MA3 division anymore. I'm moving up to MA2. And then I think I won my second ever tournament in MA2.
Oh
And that was
wow.
the moment that like literally the hook was in my mouth. I was all in on disc golf. And I think after that year, I think I averaged like 25 events a year.
Oh
Just
wow.
loved playing it. And then I started traveling all over the place to play. And now I've played, 100 plus unique courses in like 10 or 12 different states. It's been a blast.
All right. So what's your favorite course that you've played so far at a
Ooh.
tournament?
See, that's tough for me because I've played some pro tour courses. So I always think they have like an unfair
Mhm.
argument in this scenario because I've played Maple Hill probably 20 times.
Ooh, okay.
Maple Hill is like whenever they have the Cosmic Open or whatever, I'm only 5.5 hours away. So like let's make it work. So I drive up, I put up with New York traffic for a little bit and enjoy getting to play Maple Hill. So Maple Hill Golds is the best. I've never found a course that's quite like it. And I've been out to Northwood Black. That's a similarly amazing course. And I've been down to New London. Amazing. So like those are all top tier courses. But if I'm saying like a course that I play within like an hour and a half, what I would consider to be like a reasonable, it's the weekend, I'm just going over this event. It's hard to beat courses like Iron Hill. It's just such a classically great wooded, like East Coast wooded course. And there's something about being up there in the woods that just, I don't know, it gives me a feeling that most courses can't do.
Yeah. Have you played any courses in this area, the West New York area?
Mm, I don't know that I've played any out there. There's one that was like right across the border. Um, is it like in the Warwick area? I think I'm not sure.
Mhm.
I could be completely, but no, I don't think I've played any out near you. It's definitely on my list because I'm trying to get a course played in every state at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think I've been out towards you. What's your favorite course?
Locally, because I've only played like courses around here. Like I've never played
Yeah.
outside the state yet. So I would say like my top two courses around here is gonna be Bond Lake and Shorewinds. Two
Mm,
very challenging courses. And then like a solid like one right behind that is Emory State Park. That one's another good one, another
yeah,
challenging course.
I've heard of that one for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
that one's definitely on like everyone's list to come here. Everyone says Bond Lake and Emory.
mm. So, out of curiosity, like, are you gonna get like an out of state course here on your list soon? Because you're so close to so many good ones, you know.
Yeah, I got family that just bought a house in Maryland, so I'll be like
Mhm.
heading down to Maryland a couple times this summer, and
Perfect.
I'll check out some courses there and see what leagues they got going on while I'm there. So
Nice.
that's on the list.
There's some great courses in Maryland.
Sweet, that'll be really cool. So nowadays, like when you're home, do you find yourself like more so playing tournaments and leagues, or are you starting to dabble in being a TD now?
That's a really interesting question because I think, and you're gonna have to apologize to all the listeners. I tend to just go on all over the place whenever I'm asked a question. So, there's something unique I think that's happening in disc golf. We had the COVID boom, and
Mhm.
then all of a sudden over the course of like 2021, 22, the need for tournaments was like wildfire. So all these tournaments popped up, and you had these TDs that were just burning the candle at both ends to keep doing these events. And I think around like 2024, we started to see a lot of those TDs start to get tired, wanting to pass that torch on to somebody else. So like through before COVID all the way through to like 2024, I was playing in so many events. That was my big thing. Starting back in 2020, 2004, I helped for my first ever tournament, like TDing experience. I, along with like the Pennsylvania state coordinator and one of the probably most seasoned TDs in the country, he's on the list of like some of the most people who've TD'd the most events, Mike Salt. We, AKA Mr. Disc or the disc golf guy, or no, Mr. Disc Golf. We started a big B tier in our area that we want to move into an A tier. So we have one more year of doing that to get into an A tier. But then this past year, I started to move a little bit away from playing and more into the how can I help with events. And going into 2026, I just joined my club's board. I'm now the like director of tournaments. So I'll be running all of like the club's tournaments this year. I think I'm going to be TDing like 7 or 8 events and then helping the other events kind of do their thing. And so my big goal is to like increase the level of professionalism at those events, get more people to come out and volunteer and all that kind of stuff. But I'm still going to play events because I love competing. I
Yeah.
love competing. But in terms of growing the sport, getting involved in creating the events, there's such satisfaction on my end of seeing people enjoy an event, watching the community of disc golf come together. It's so rewarding.
Yeah. So how does like a tournament go from a B tier to an A tier? Like what's the procedure for that?
Well, a lot of it comes down to like there isn't too much, and aside from like size, obviously, you need to run a B tier successfully for a few years, typically 3 years, and there needs to be not a lot of problems. So like you want positive reviews on that kind of stuff, and then like you can apply for the A tier status and get it. But you also have to take care of things like are the courses proper courses? Once you go to an A tier, you're like you can't skate by with baskets that aren't fully PDGA approved because you can like do waivers for other stuff for like lower level events.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that the venues can handle like the parking properly. And there's just a lot more. I would say an A tier and a B tier, the only difference is the A tier is like more well dressed than the B tier is. And
Mhm.
it's had a few years to make sure it can even be an A tier before that. But in terms of like the process, it's too much different between the two of them. So we have a couple really big A tiers in the area. I mean, we have the Pennsylvania States, which was upgraded to a Q series last year. I think they're going to get Q
Oh
series
wow.
status again this year. So we have that goes on. And fortunately, we have one of the best state coordinators probably in the country. Sean Conroy is one of the most organized state coordinators, and he does everything he can to make sure the events get as well ran as possible. So yeah, you got to have a history of success with B tiers. You can't have a bunch of people emailing the PDGA about all these terrible problems. And, they just care about consistency and quality.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, since you like competing so much, how
Mhm.
much do you practice and what is your favorite part of your game that you like to practice?
Ooh. That's a great question. I should probably practice a lot more. I'm not I I am not like, a top guy in my area. I like to compete. This past year I didn't practice as much as I would like to. When I became a dad, it's amazing how much like less time you have because there's so many things you're doing which are totally 100% rewarding, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
trade being a dad for anything in the world. But I would say when I do get out and practice, it's mostly on the putting green. I do a lot of putting practice. I don't do a lot of field work, and that's something I need to work on if I really want to improve my game is going out and just throwing. I'll go to
Mhm.
courses and I will practice shots. Like I'll go play a solo round and I'll do like myself versus myself or player A versus player B on the same hole. And I'll have one player be a really safe player and I'll have player B be the aggressive player. And I'll kind of see what happens when I'm playing really aggressively versus playing really safe, take multiple shots, that kind of thing. So I think what I love the most about practice is the strategy around what I'm going to do. So I'm that guy who wakes up the morning of the tournament and I'm in the shower, my eyes are closed, and I'm like, hole number one, I'm throwing this disc. I'm hoping to be in these places. I'm going to throw this shot next. And so I kind of visualize the competition. And that kind of goes back to my experience with like coaching basketball. I'm a very like
Mhm.
preparation uh, oriented person. but I probably need to spend more time just in the field throwing discs. So I enjoy the strategy and I enjoy putting practice as long as you can like make it fun for yourself. One thing I like doing is practicing pressure. So you can do that. Like I like to go to a short course and say I got to shoot this number. And it's a short course. Like you shouldn't be missing these shots. And you can kind of create
Yeah.
artificial pressure on yourself, which is a lot of fun.
So, when you go to like a new course and you sign up for like a tournament, do you
Mhm.
play it blind or do you make sure you get there a few days ahead of time to practice that course?
If it's like just a C tier, my rating would show you that I play a lot of tournaments blind, and I shouldn't be doing that. I definitely, I'll never forget. There's a course in Maryland. Speaking of Maryland, where I was like one weekend, I had the weekend free. It was before I had my son. My wife was away for something, and I'm like, oh, I want to go play an event. So I found this place at this course called Three Creeks. Really cool course in like Rising Sun, Maryland. I go down, and I'm there, and they're doing the big talk, the players meeting, and the guy stands up and goes, "First of all, I want to say thank you all for coming out to the inaugural tournament at this course, and also thank you since everyone here helped build the course." And I'm just there like, I think I made a mistake, and all these guys just crushed the course. It's probably two of my worst ratings ever as I got pummeled into the ground with this new course. Fantastic course. I'll definitely go play it again. But yeah, I play too many C tiers blind. Now, if it's a big event, like I'm very like when I went out to Maple Hill for the first time to play it in a tournament, I went out with days ahead of time, practiced the layouts, really figured it out. When I've gone to Ledgestone 4 times now, I go out like that whole week before, play the courses, really get a feel for everything. I did the same thing with like Am Worlds back when I went and played, and when I went down to NADGT in Austin, and I played all those courses with a lot of preparation time because I think that's super important on a high level. But C tiers, I put myself in that position. I'm not the kind of guy who just picks the same 3 or 4 courses and only plays them for tournaments. I like to see everything disc golf has to offer.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the morning of a tournament, like when you get to the course, do you have like a set routine so you can come out firing hot in the first round instead of like what I do, I struggle in the first round. I'm always sluggish,
Mm.
and then I kind of turn it on in the second round. So, what's your recipe for success for the first round?
For me, I don't like to overdo it. I don't like to show up with no time. I like to get to the tournament probably like let's say the T starts at 9 and the players meeting is at 8:45. I love to get there at like 8 o'clock. It depends on the course a little bit too, but I'll get there at like 8 o'clock and I'll get warmed up with maybe like 10 or 15 putts. Not a lot. I don't like to stand there and putt for like 15 minutes and I'm like 50 putts deep. So I'll putt 10 or 15 times. I'll throw a couple up shots and then I will go play 3 or 4 holes in like some kind of loop near Tournament Central. If it's a course that I struggle at and I can get to my starting hole, so like if my starting hole is like hole 11 or hole 12, and I know that I struggle with this course, I'll
Mhm.
try to get out there and start and do like a little loop of like those 3 holes that I'm starting with. So that way I know that when I go to start them for the actual round, I've already played those holes and I've kind of gotten the warm up in. And then I'll come back, see what kind of time I have left, and then finish with putting. And I'm going to putt until I feel good, not until like I'm not going to use up all my time. If I go and I hit 6 or 7 putts in a row, we're done. Like we're wrapping it up. We're because it feels good in that moment.
Yeah. All right, so time to jump a little bit here. So the first season of Imposter, how
Yeah.
did you get involved with it, and what was it like when you finally got the nod from Foundation? Like, all right, you're going to be part of the cast.
So I think what helped me get involved with Imposter was getting involved with debate night because by getting on debate night, I got exposure to their audience. And
Hmm.
when I first got involved with that, they told everyone who auditioned and made it through the auditions, you're going to get 2 shows. And if it goes well, you'll get more shows. But 2 shows, everyone will get 2 shows. By the end of that season, I was on 16 episodes
Yes.
because it went really well. And so they put the ad out for like who wants to be on Imposter, and I sent my video in, And I kind of sent them a really funny video. I dressed up in like a button-down shirt. I got super serious, kind of played into the character a little bit. And about a couple weeks later, Hunter reached out and he's like, "We were really hoping that you were going to apply. So we're going to have you on the show." And then I thought, "Oh, this is great. I was one of 8 people picked." And then they kind of revealed that they already had a few people in mind. And I was like, I was just super thankful because at that point, I never expected anything. Like with debate night, I never expected to get on there. I never expected to get more than 2 episodes. I just, whatever I do, I like to throw myself at 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I put that audition in for the imposter series, I'm like, I'm not like, they're going to bring in a bunch of like big content creators. Like, I'm not going to be that guy. And when they told me I was equally both really excited and really nervous. Not nervous to be on camera because I've done stuff locally with my friends before on camera, and I'm really comfortable around the camera. I'm not shy. If I look like an idiot, then who cares? Because I don't really
Yep.
care that much. Just more so, I wanted to play well when I went out there, and so that was my big focus. But I was just super excited. I mean, to get the opportunity to do something like that the first time it kind of is done at that scale was fantastic. I can't complain at all about it.
Yeah. So, how did it feel coming back for season 2?
It felt great because they put out the whole, the vote of who do you want to see come on from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was overwhelming the number of people who wanted me to come back. And I kind of was taken aback by that because I really expected probably somebody else to be on instead of me. But yeah, when they let me know that I was back on the show, I was like, oh, here we go again. And I'm trying to figure out who's going to be on the show. And I'm like, well, my problem now is everyone knows how I play because of the first season. And I kind of ended the first season playing pretty decently. I had that ace spit out. Things were looking really great. And I'm like, I just got to go back out and repeat the same thing again. The only problem I was having was I had a bunch of stuff going on like outside of disc golf. And my disc golf game in like the mid this past year was terrible. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, I got to get this figured out because I'm going back out here and I cannot be playing poorly. And so, yeah, I was once again equal parts super pumped, but like, I got to get this game in order before I go out there.
Yeah. Now, when you obviously everyone knows that you were the imposter. So, what did it feel like when you seen that was going to be your role? Like, what was your first thought?
I won't lie to you. I did not want to be the imposter. I wanted nothing to do with it. I'm walking up. I'm like, please, 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 please don't be the imposter. I flipped it around and I forget who was right in front of me. I think it was Hunter. And I shot a dagger right through him. I'm like, oh, why would you do this? And at that moment, because we knew, so the way the filming worked, it kind of made it look like we were all on those teams, played that game, and then we drew the roles for everything like before that. It actually happened reverse in real life. We played that game not knowing about any imposter. No one had a role yet. So we played that first, like the game determined which group was going to be in the warehouse. That
Yeah.
they only showed like 30 seconds of that game. But so we finished that game and then we go find out who the imposters are. But before that, Hunter kind of alluded to there may be a second imposter. So when I flipped that around, my first thought was, man, I really hope the second imposter is like a Trevor again or a
Yeah.
Robbie. Like I hope it's somebody super strong and I hope they let us communicate. I hope I know who the person is and we can like talk to each other through some like or at least maybe like an undisclosed phone number where I don't know who it is, but at least I'm texting somebody.
Yeah.
And like yeah, it was rough. I was not ready for that because the implication of being an imposter is you're trying to play poorly on purpose. And I think people don't realize how difficult it is, especially as an amateur, when our games aren't always 100% awesome. I mean, even pros games aren't 100% on all the time, but like the likelihood for an amateur to do something stupid is high. Every
Yeah.
amateur out there who's listening knows that. So when you combine the randomness of an amateur's game sometimes with the, oh, by the way, you need to throw a shot deliberately bad, it's a recipe for chaos. And so I was nervous. I walked back to that table. I put on the smile. I was like, yeah, I'm a part of the crew. But deep down inside, I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? What shot am I going to mess up? And my wheels were absolutely spinning in my head.
Yeah. So, like, I've always wondered, like obviously off camera, you guys are all in that house together. How do they make sure that the game's not ruined just by you guys
Mm.
just hanging out?
Yeah. So we were all in the house, and the way they did it was once you were voted out, you had to leave the Airbnb. So they got a hotel room with like 2 queen size beds in it, and so that way you could stay because a lot of us were trying to do other content while we were out there. And the rule we were
Mhm.
just told was, hey guys, if you're out of the game, like you can still hang out, still film with the other guys, but you cannot talk about the show. And like the general like idea is like, hey, if you break that rule, you're probably never going to be back for anything ever again.
Yeah.
Don't be like, and all of us understood that, and we knew no one was going to break that rule. So it was kind of fun every night as the rounds would end, and like we would find out who was voted off because they would come walking into the Airbnb, or they come walking into the hotel room like, oh, who's it going to be this time? Like, oh no, Robbie got off the show. But when we were all hanging out afterwards, like we did game nights a couple of the nights. Like we all did a very good job of not sharing anything and keeping it very like buttoned up. It was not hard at all with the personalities that we had because everyone understood, like, don't ruin the show. And I think that's where it was helpful to like have content creators because like Jay Millie and Robbie and Brody, Trevor, they all understand. Don't ruin the content.
Mhm.
And so you're never going to have that happen to them. And then Grant, you know, who's probably new for some people, he's also a content creator. And Carlos, just an impeccably awesome individual. So like nobody was going to ruin it. And I think it went really well. Everyone kind of keeping their mouth shut.
Yeah, like that's the part that I was always impressed while I was watching. Like, man, how do they
Yeah.
just keep these guys like in line, like even when the cameras are off? Like,
Oh yeah.
it's pretty impressive that they're able to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like I always thought, like I'm not sure if like they pick ahead of time who the imposter is, or if it's just random. But
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be like pretty awesome to like if they were to have Brody be the imposter because
Hmm.
he's the pro, so he at any time could mess up a shot and be able to pull it off. Like, oh, oops, I threw it too far, or
Yeah.
oh, I did it too short.
Yeah. Brody's a tough one because I think that at least the sentiment that I got the first 2 seasons was always Brody's never going to make it to the end. Like everyone always agreed on that. And Brody kind of even understands that. So he's a tough one to have as an imposter. I think if he's the imposter, there's got to be another one because it doesn't matter what Brody does, he's never making it through all 5 episodes just because that's kind of been how everyone's felt. Um, so I know the first season, because they weren't sure of how it was going to go, they wanted to guarantee that it went well. They
Mhm.
picked Trevor in the first season. So that was completely created to make that work. And I think it went really well. Season 2, Hunter told us it was random.
Oh, okay.
So I just got really lucky, I guess.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised everyone wants to vote Brody off because he seems like the guy that you'd want to listen to get to the goal each round.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, you and I both know after watching it and watching other stuff that Brody tends to make his point very loudly sometimes,
Hmm.
and I think that can sometimes put more pressure on the group than they realize. And while that's not really a big issue for like Trevor, who's been around it, Robbie, who's been around it, me, I've been around it. For someone who's never been around Brody when he's on full on Brody mode, it it puts a lot of pressure down. And so I think like the first season, we were on episode 3 and everyone's like Brody's not making it past uh episode 4. And then this second season, I mean, the talks were pretty early on like we're not letting Brody make it to the end. So I think Brody understands that too.
Yeah, yeah. It's always fun listening to Brody go off, and then like I'm always like, I'm kind of like that personality too. So if me and Brody were ever on a show together, it'd be hilarious because we'd be both
It's entertaining.
It is very entertaining because it's
Oh
like
yeah.
I am so that personality at times too. It's like, oh my gosh. So, what do you throw? Like, what is in your bag?
Whew. So I am not beholden to any manufacturer. I throw just a bit about everything, and I actually love the fact that I've got, I want to say, double digits manufacturers in my bag. Um, I just recently dealt with a mold ban that I did a little contest, and some people were able to ban my Bergs and my Zones and my Buzz. The Buzz was brand new. Zones and Bergs hurt because I lean very heavily on my Bergs and my Zones, which they're back in the bag now. But that experiment caused me to introduce some new discs. But when I think about, like, without running through the entire bag, I putt with P1s. I think P1s are some of the best putters. They feel so great in the hand. I lean really heavily on, like, um, the Lutz from Castaplast, which is a 9-speed. I think it's a great driver that more people should experiment with. I I have a destroyer. It's really beaten. It's old. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. In fact, it was sitting in Lake Eureka for like 4 months, and then the water receded, and somebody found it and sent it back to me, and I had a tear in my eye because it was amazing. I just put the chemtrail in the bag. I know it was like everyone's going after chemtrails in 2025. It's a phenomenal disc. So I've got that in there, and I now just put a Prodigy disc in the bag. So, like, I don't think there's a major manufacturer that isn't represented in my bag anywhere, at least not that I can think of. Dynamic, for a long time, I threw Sheriffs. I don't anymore.
Mhm.
Um, so Dynamic might be the one that's not represented, but I have like their other, I have plenty of House of discs in there. So it's like, I don't know. It's crazy. I throw a little bit of everything. If it's nice, it'll find its way in the bag.
Yeah, I would definitely highly suggest since you like the zone and the Berg, definitely get yourself an Anvil and the VIP Classic. It will
Mm.
be phenomenal approach disc.
Yeah, I think I've seen a few people mention the Anvil because when I put that out there, I saw people naming discs I've never heard of before. It was a lot of fun to get to do that kind of thing. I even tried the Intercore for a while, which is great because Jesse reached out and he was giving me some advice on the Intercore. Um, yeah, no, I'll have to look into that. I think like the two discs that stood out during the whole ban were the A5 from Prodigy and the Stabilizer from Streamline, which was really a really cool disc as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I normally suggest everybody get a Sake Bomb Felon, but those are officially gone from DD. You can no longer get them.
Yep, yep. I do know they're trying to sell them. I think they're not gone. They're gonna
They're
pop
gone,
up.
gone.
They're gone. I thought they were gonna pop up at some third party like local store because I know one of my local stores said they were offered a chance to get a bunch of them like just recently. So,
Yeah,
but
I just talked to the warehouse because I was like, because I tried
oh yeah,
ordering a few of them and they're like, we have none left. And they're like,
wow,
so I was like, no. They're like, yes. But they said, don't worry. We DD is eventually going to be working on the replacement disc for it. So I
yeah,
was like, oh, thank
mm,
gosh.
that makes sense. That makes
'Cause
sense.
that's my go-to disc. So I'm like,
Really,
I got 8 of them left, and I hope I don't lose them.
there you go. That's yeah, what is that? What speed is that? Like a
It's a
9?
9504. Wait, point 0.5 and then 4.
Mm. I think 9 speeds are just some of the best speeds out there because you got like the Firebird and all that stuff in the 9 speed. Not enough people throw 9 speeds.
Yeah, everyone
Outside of
hops right. Everyone skips the fairways. It's like
yeah,
that's my whole game. It's like the
yep.
fairways. I love it.
Oh, yeah, I never ever bagged a 7 speed before. I skipped right from 6 to 9. Now that I've got a 7 speed, I can totally understand why that's a great spot in the bag, but it is tough. I think not a lot of companies fill that gap very well, or at
Yeah,
least advertise that gap very well.
yeah.
Mhm.
What do you have for a 7 speed?
Oh, the chemtrail.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay.
it's fantastic for a flip up to be able to throw it hard and know it's always gonna come back. It's great. Been loving it.
Yeah, I just recently put in last couple months a 7-speed in my bag. I picked up an Explorer. It is phenomenal.
Explorer.
You really pump on that one, and it
Yeah.
holds, and then the overstability brings it back in perfectly.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So what are your goals for this upcoming season, and what are you looking forward to the most?
Mm. Um, so I've got goals that kind of split down the road between like three different places. I've got the goals as a player, which are just to sort of get back to like that same level of play that I've always been at. Because the 2025 season was my first year without a win. I was not happy about that.
Oh wow.
So I want to get back to that, like being more competitive at events. I want to get my rating back up to where it was kind of before I got super busy and life got kind of crazy and just be more consistent. That's kind of like the smallest set of goals because like I enjoy disc golf. I will always enjoy disc golf no matter what my rating is, no matter how well. I just want to play well from what I know I can do. I want to hit putts. I want to throw some good shots. I know I'm never going to be 975 a pro or anything like that. Just it just is what it is. I'm awaiting the clock that lets me play in age protected divisions.
Me
But
too.
there you go. As a when it comes to event running, I've got big goals like getting more people involved in volunteering, making the events in my area better, growing the sport, getting more people excited about disc golf. But then on the content side, I really want to. A big goal of mine is I would love to get like a media uh, pass for Worlds, go out and really put together some great media stuff. I think whether that's going out and being a representative of like the Tour Life group or going out on my own, because now that I have my own show and stuff, I really want to kind of carve my space into the disc golf news arena. I think we're missing specific type of viewpoints. We're missing certain angles within our sport, and the people who have that knowledge, they're not good behind a camera. They're not great at relaying that knowledge in a way that makes sense for
Mhm.
people. And then you have the other side, which you have the people who are great behind cameras, but they don't have all that extra detail because they're not going in there and diving into stats as deep as they could. So I want to bring all those things together. And I think just in general, make my content better, make it more accessible for people, and ultimately, I want to love what I'm doing. I never want to get to a place where I'm doing it because I have to, or I'm doing it because this is what the market demands. I want to love what I do, and fortunately, I do right now. So that's what it's all about for me. Is just 2026 is gonna be a busy year, I think, for me when it comes to disc golf, and I just want to survive.
Yeah. How many wins are you gonna take this year on debate night?
Oh, and debate night? I don't know. See, they keep changing the way the points work now. I would like here's my thing. I would like a 100% podium rate. So I want to make it to the finals every episode I'm in. From there, it's like it just comes down to what argument Trevor likes more, I think. So I'd be happy with 5 or 6 wins over on debate night, but I want to be in the finals every episode I'm on, just because I think I've only ever missed the finals twice in the I think 25 plus episodes I've been on. So
Yeah, I always look forward to listening to Brody rebuttal. I got a rebuttal.
that's right.
It's like, oh yes, here we go, finally.
Yeah, it's a great show. I wish more people would apply to it because I think it's fun. It definitely gets you out of your comfort zone, and more people have good opinions than they realize. Like that's why I think like my third episode on there, I recommended to people like when Trevor asked the question, pause the video and just see if you can ramble for 90 seconds about the topic, and you'll surprise yourself most of the time that you have opinions. And so when you can air those opinions out and start thinking about it, you'll realize that you know you like disc golf more than you thought you did, and maybe those opinions, like everyone's opinion, should be heard. So
Yeah. Maybe I should apply, but I just don't watch too much of the pro tour, so I wouldn't know too much.
well, I think you still do okay. I think you still do okay.
Yeah. So as we're wrapping this up, you got any questions for me?
Yeah, what I want to know is, you just came out and talked about like two sponsorships that you got with Trilogy and Great Lakes, right?
Great Lakes is the sponsor, and then Team Trilogy is just a fanboy club I'm part of.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so when we talked about scheduling, you told me you were booked out to, basically 20. What's your plan? I'm super big into one of the things I want to do this year is I want to get more content creators doing things together. Like, what's your
Mhm.
master plan? Like, what is your, if you get to the end of 2026, what things have to have happened for you to go, I met my goals? Like, what are your big priorities this upcoming year?
Um, I don't know if my goal will ever be met for this show because my overall goal is to get every disc golfer possible on this show so they can have a recorded episode for themselves to
Hmm.
either look back at or to hand out to sponsors to help them with sponsorships.
I love that. That's in the world of business, they call that like a BHAG. It's a big, hairy, audacious goal. It's one that you maybe don't always are ever going to be able to hit, but you're setting a goalpost for yourself that's aggressive. And I love
Yep.
that. I love that you're giving people a voice. There are people who you've had on your show that I never knew about, and now I know about. And like that's incredible that you're giving platforms to people to do that kind of thing. So that's exciting. Who's your dream guest? Like, no, like you can have anyone you want on the show. Who's the dream person to sit across from you and have this on your show?
Oh, there's two. There's
Mm,
two of them, and they're both in FPO. Owen Scoggins and
okay.
then Kristen Lapp.
Okay. I can tell you right now, Kristen's a tough one to get on an interview, but I'm willing to bet you Owen's pretty cool about stuff. You could probably reach out to Owen and get her on the show a
I
lot easier
actually,
than you expect.
in a couple months, she'll be a
Oh,
guest.
perfect. See,
Yes.
you're already on top of it. I love that. That's fantastic. Oh, goodness. Well, at some point, because I'm going to be doing something coming up here in the year where I specifically want to sit down with like content creators. I want to get you on my show. I want to pick your brain. I want to know what's going on your side of the aisle over there, because I think more people need to be doing the stuff that you're doing. I think a lot of people have creative ideas and they're sitting back going, I can't do that. I can't do this. And it's hard. You mean you obviously know we grind for not as many views as the big guys. We're
Yeah.
working hard to make this work. And over time, that grind becomes worth it, as long as we also enjoy it along the way too. So I love what you're doing, and I hope that you keep doing it. I hope you eventually can sit back and go, I have interviewed everybody, PDGA number 400,000 to whatever the most active person is. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, for those people that are sitting there like, "Oh, I can't do that," like, I literally had no content creating
Yeah.
experience at all. I just hopped on, and I just winged it. I mean, in my very first couple episodes, you could tell I had no idea what the heck was going on,
Hmm.
and each episode, I've learned new things. I learned
Yeah.
this software. Like, when I did my episode, with Miko from, Finland,
Hmm.
he helped me discover this software that I'm using now, and
Yeah.
then I've talked to a couple guests that told me get a microphone, do this, do that, and
Yeah.
then a couple people that watch my shows have been teaching me how to edit things better and how to post
Hmm.
things better. So it's like every episode, I'm always learning something new to
Yep.
do even better.
Yeah, that's how you have to do it. I mean, you have to have a spirit of openness and know that, like, hey, not everything is always going to be perfect. Because I ran into that problem when I first started, which was I wanted the episode to be perfect, and I had to have someone come alongside me and say, Gary, it's not going to be perfect ever, and it's probably not going to be what you want it to be for another year or two. So just
Hmm.
focus on every episode, making it a little bit better than the previous episode. And it's amazing. Like, I was just out at the course the other day, filming something where I'm encouraging people to go out and, if there's a dream ace you've always wanted, go film it. There's no reason to sit in your couch and go, oh, I always want to throw it on this hole, but I just can't do it. Like, take your bag out and go do it, and pop
Yeah,
your phone up, or like have someone hold your phone for you. Like, it's amazing how accessible this stuff is. But I think people think it's real hard, and it's hard to be great. It's not hard to start, you know.
yeah.
So
And if you think about it, Brody even had to start from nothing.
exactly, exactly. And I always laugh about that because I'll never forget years ago watching him go on and do the trick shot battles with Dude Perfect. If you had told me that years later I'd be on a podcast with the guy and I'd be texting with him, during the week, I would have said, you're crazy. You're crazy. But that's just how life goes. If you just I think if most people realize that if they said yes to some things that put them out of their comfort zone a little bit, like there are opportunities out there. If I just said yes to doing something because I like sitting there at the TV arguing over something that I saw on live coverage. And then my wife is like, "You should apply for debate night." I'm like, "Are
Yeah.
you sure?" She goes, "Yeah." If I would have said no, I don't know what I'd be doing right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I would definitely like to get Brody on this too. Like he'd be one guy that I would love to
Yeah.
pick his brain about disc golf because he knows so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. So as we're wrapping this up, where can people follow you?
All right, so you can follow me on a couple different places. I have a personal account called Thumber Life. It's over on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. That's where I post a lot of my like fun things,
Mhm.
not professional related, just me playing courses, doing disc reviews, me being an idiot. I mean, all that kind of stuff is over there. And then I have a platform I've created called Understable Discourse. That's all my professional stuff. So I do two episodes weekly that are long form where I talk about the Pro Tour. On Mondays, it's called Chain Reaction, where I go look backwards at the
Mhm.
previous event. And then on Wednesdays, I look ahead to what's coming up. And then I just started in the last like month or so daily content for Understable Discourse on all four of those platforms. So those are the best places to find me. And then I also like to go on Whatnot and I rip cards. Titanium just got released for Brixton, and people are
Ooh,
going nuts for it. So I'm over there. It's Gary Dad 4421, but we're gonna be out at Disc East soon, breaking with Brixton. It's gonna be a good time. So
nice.
yeah, that's a mouthful. I'm sorry.
Cool. Thank you for coming on tonight and being the guest.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night.
You as well.